Hi everyone, good morning and welcome back to the vlog. If you're new here, my name is Braylon. I'm a special ed teacher. My classroom has first graders and third graders this year. Every year it changes the grade level, so I'm not locked in for forever, but this year it's first grade and third grade. Last week I vlogged the whole week and I loved it. I loved that I got to go back and edit and see things that I wanted to change for this week, think of new activities. Today I'm not feeling the best. I don't feel sick. I just kind of feel a little lethargic. I don't know, just kind of like blah. So I'm trying to pep myself up. I have my shaken espresso, so hopefully that'll like wake me up. But there are a lot of changes coming in my school and in my schedule in the next couple weeks. A lot of students are coming back in person besides just my classroom. And so that means changing a lot about my schedule and a lot for my students. You can watch my vlog from last week. I always make sure everything's set by Friday. There are two things I thought of this weekend that I want to print. I'll hopefully show you that after school. And I need to staple a few things that I kind of forgot. But other than that, we're good to go.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's after school. My makeup is a mess. My lipstick is gone. It's all on the inside of my mask, so that's a hot mess. Honestly, I just had two really long, intense meetings. I honestly think I might go home. I never bring work home with me, but my stomach kind of hurts. I'm just kind of tired. I want to eat my snacks and sit and do this work while watching TV. So this might be a big deal. I might be doing work at home. Whoa. We did a lot of work today. We did our typical calendar pages, which I talked about last week. Those have been really helpful for them to follow along with the calendar. So that's been really, really great for writing. Today we started opinion writing, which was very, very challenging for them. But I did have this pack where they could choose what they liked better. And I think that it started to click. And we started with some simple sentence starters on the board, like, I like this, or I do not like this. And so that way we could start having them make their opinions. I also want to show you a little bit about the reading. This week for reading, if you didn't watch my vlog from last week I started using a pack from Teach, Love, and Autism. And each pack or each unit is only a couple bucks, but basically it has 4 different levels of readers of the same topic. And then each day there are different activities for it. And really it's been helpful because last week it was on dinosaurs. It's the free unit, which I'll link down below as well. And basically everybody can read about the same topic and then they can do activities. And I loved it. This week the story was about dogs, and so it was also really great. And so we each read our leveled dog text, and then we did our dog activities. Last week we also did this, but we have been doing decodable books from Tara West. We're now on to Consonant C, and this was a hit as well, just like last week. They were following along, learning the vocabulary words. Always comes with vocab and vocab pictures. So today was just Monday, so we went through. We did a very simple anchor chart. These are separate, divided by the line. This was for the dog story. We went through the main idea and the details, and they had their own pages that went along with it. So we kind of did that all together. And then this is for the decodable book, and we wrote sentences to fill in the gap, and then we talked about the vocab words. I just printed it in black and white. They didn't care. And this took us longer than we thought because we were coming up with so many great ideas. We were putting our own name and putting other weird characters and things. But yeah, these were also really helpful for them to have because they could just refer back to it.
All right. I'm leaving. I'm done. So I'm in my car and I'm just going to drive home. This is me setting my boundary. I don't know what it is today. The kids were great. My meetings were helpful. There was nothing bad. I just didn't feel good. I didn't feel good, and I didn't feel like I would get anything productive done at school. So I'm going to go home. It's only a couple minutes early, and I don't have anything tonight. I'm going to order food.
watch a bunch of shows and get a lot of little projects done.
All right. Hi, everyone. I made it back home. I took a shower. I put my food in the oven. I have a bowl of ice cream. So I'm feeling a lot better. I'm trying to get ahead for when more students from my school start to come in person. So for my classroom, starting April 5th, I'm going to get 2 more of my remote students back, and then a bunch of classrooms throughout the school that are like general ed. Things are like ramping up. Part of that is I need to change my whole schedule of the day, and that is stressful. I have to add 2 additional hours on to our day, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but I think what I'm going to do, and I've seen a lot of like first grade classrooms and kindergarten classrooms have a lot of success with this, is we're going to have centers. I want to have a block of the day that's academic centers. So you're with your same group, but you only go to one center each day. And that's for like 20 or 30 minutes. And they're all manned by like staff. So for academics, you go to a reading center, which will be with me, where you read an additional book that day and we do additional things that are like academic things, or you go to a writing center with one of my other paraprofessionals, or you go maybe to like a fun math center or a play center. And so we'll just do that. So 1 center per day. So then the next day, you go to the writing center and the next group comes to the reading center. And that way I can do a little bit more individual work and fit a little bit more of that time in. But I don't want it to be too challenging, but I still need to see a few more students like one-on-one or in a small group for their state testing assessments, or just to like get a better gauge on what they're doing currently. So that's my first thing that I want to do. Sorry if this is long and rambling, you can totally skip ahead. The second thing is I want play centers. So then I want another time of the day for 30 minutes where it's just play centers in a rotation, or you get to choose. There's a building center, there's an art center, there's music. And in my classroom, I can't have the centers be permanent because that classroom's pretty small, and it's, again, not my classroom. So I need to make the labels for my centers just like simple labels that will match some of the PECS pictures, or the pictures that students who are who use devices can match up to their own like device. All right, hello, it is Tuesday after school. I realized that I didn't even film before school because I was in such a rush. Last night was not my favorite night, but I feel a lot better today. I felt like for some reason I woke up, I felt just like more awake. I went to Starbucks and came to school like much more refreshed. We had a really great day. We did a lot of stuff, nothing super different than what we did yesterday. We still did our cat decodable book. We did our pets, specifically dogs, more like leveled readers. And some students that never answer actually answered the main problem of the story, which just shows that repetition makes a difference. I want to show you the lowest tech thing. A lot of my students are working on adding with manipulatives, and I literally found these like free math cards that I printed out, and then I use a plate and I give them a bunch of these little like shapes, and then they have to lay out, 2 plus 3, and then we solve it from there. And it has been like weird because it's like so low tech, but it's been like the most helpful, and a lot of their addition things have been sticking, which is super awesome. I have a lot of things on my list that I want to do today. It is Tuesday, so I'm going to very quickly write out my lesson plans for next week. Just take a couple minutes, jot out all my ideas. I have parent-teacher conferences tomorrow, so each of my students, I want, besides that like 1-page thing that I sent last week as like my pretend report card, I want to have some of their like actual IEP data. I'm going to take screenshots of those graphs and put them into a slideshow, so I'll show you that. I want to talk about data for a second. I take data once a week because that's the most manageable thing for me. I try to take it on every IEP goal, but realistically, once a week, I probably can only get one goal. Like, it's just, I just give myself a lot of grace in that area. But for conferences, I really want to be able to show the parents the data that we've collected. And so like I said, every week I take data and I always make sure I have my, what's it called? What's this word called? Calculator. Holy moly. I always make sure I have my calculator out. So for example, alphabet in like uppercase, they only got 3 out of 26 letters. So I always want to make sure I know what the percentage is. I'm not good at it yet. Okay, before my camera dies, I want to show you my data. So for each kid, I take data in a simple graph on Google. Then every month I put in the percentage and then I take a screenshot. So it's really simple. I already have a template for this, which I'll leave down below. So for September, every time I tested them on answering yes, no, they ended up with a 40%. It goes right in the graph, 40, 40, 40, 60, 60. So we're getting consistently better. And then we still have a few more months left, which it never goes to July, but April, May, and June. And hopefully they'll have made a lot of progress. So I put this on a simple slide so that during my conferences, I can share my screen and kind of show the parents where we're at. My IEP progress reports are due, so I'm going to take 20 minutes and try to see how many I can get out in 20 minutes. I'm actually going to skip ahead and find some center visuals. I thought I would make my own. I'm running out of time and energy of making my own, so I kind of want to just purchase some on TPT. Let me show you the ones that I found. I put them all in my cart. Fix yourself. This looks like the most promising one because it's only $3, even though it's for pre-K, and I hate the border. I can just cut the border off and just have them like plain, but they have a lot of options. So like reading, math, literacy, drama, sensory, and I think we're going to have sensory time, and blocks or building, not Bible center. Oh my God. But you know what? You can buy them. So you can print the one you want. So I think this is the one I'm going to get. We are moving through this list so quick. I'm checking things off. We're making progress. I keep setting myself timers, so I'm only dedicating a certain amount of minutes to each thing because I'm not trying to stay here for forever. Okay, so I've talked about this in other videos and I've had them in years prior, but usually for morning work, if I don't give off real paperwork, then I have binders that are laminated and velcroed, and my students are able to open up their binder every morning and do the activities in it, and then close it up and know that they're done with their morning work. I haven't really been implementing them this year because I've been giving a lot of paper materials, but now that I have more students coming in, the morning work that we normally have for paper, I want it to be laminated. I want it to be laminated so that I can mix and match if I need to, or I can wipe it down, stuff like that. So I'm moving away from making as many copies to trying my hardest to have a lot of stuff already prepared. Sorry, I had to take my glasses off. So I decided that I would print off a bunch of stuff and get my binders ready for the beginning of April when all my rest of my students come in and the school kind of changes their schedule. So I want to show you some of the things that I printed off for different activities. Each of my students are at a different level, so I was trying really hard to think of this would work for this kid, this would work for this kid. We'll see what happens. I probably need to make even more, but this is just kind of the beginning. So a lot of the stuff I already had, and then some things I printed for free. Most of the stuff I found for free. So this is from Mrs. D's corner. I already paid for the solar system, but we're working on that in science in a couple weeks. So a few of my students, I want them to get a jump on with it, and they're pretty good with it. I printed off more free pattern things from TPT. I printed off free matching from TPT.
This is also free for Mrs. D's Corner. Basic addition, subtraction for some kids, and word families, like so many things. Oh, nouns, common and proper nouns for some higher levels to use Velcro. So I'm not gonna like go through where each thing is from. I just tried to think of like what my students are working on, what like skills they're working on, or what they need to have like in the next couple weeks to help them. And then I found like materials that would work for that. And so I printed a lot of them in black and white. I don't even care. They don't have to be in color. They don't have to be super pretty. But I'm going to laminate them probably tomorrow. And then I'll have either me or my para add the Velcro in the next couple days. And I'm really excited about it. I have a whole video about how I make these normally. I'm going to link that down below. And I talk in that video more about like finding, on freebie libraries or on blogs for free printables. But yeah, I really love having a morning work binder. What I also want to show you is I put them in the same place for each kid. And so when the kid comes in, they know to like pull from that drawer. So these are our supply caddies that are next to our desks, and they're like fun supplies are in here. I've probably shown this before. Come on. There we go. Go back in. What like toy they want to choose for the week usually goes here, and then their morning work goes down here. So it's either like paperwork or their calendars or their binders for their work. And then they have like this little thing up top that just holds their little knickknacks. I added that little bucket for knickknacks because I'm the kind of person that has like little, I don't know, activities or projects that I'm like half done with. And I always want a little place to like keep them to the side. So I put it there. But people have always come in and been like, what do they need these little cups for? And I'm like, I don't know. What if they get little tchotchkes, little like things they find on the ground? You never know. I want them to be able to keep it. So that's why they have those. Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, March 24th. The reason I remember that date off the top of my head is because it is Family Teacher Conference Day. So I have been trying to gather all of my like materials, my data, everything in order to have something to share. They're all going to be on Zoom. I don't have any other like class type things today. In between the conferences, I have tons of time to plan, to prep, to do a lot more stuff for next year. And I'm really excited for the free work day, essentially, to get a lot of things done. I did give my paras both two different things to do. They are running my classes today so that I can work on conferences, but also they each have like a thing that they need to help me plan. They're willing to do it because they're awesome people and they also have gaps in their day too. So they're going to plan for me a couple of different things for next year. And then one of them is like laminating and prepping a few other materials. So that's been really helpful because they've been willing to do stuff for me today because it is like a work day for them as well. But yeah, I'm going to get my coffee and then I can show you some of the things. Sorry about the lighting. I spilled my shaken espresso, so that's how today's going. I am also out of paper towels, so now I have to walk down the hall just to get the paper towels. Ugh, I'm so mad. Okay, here's my list for today. I need to do all of the conferences. I have an IEP meeting. I need to write all of my progress reports, laminate and Velcro some of the morning work, fill in those binders with that work, print off things for next week. If I have time. These are if I have extra time, which is to create the math slides for next year because I'm preparing ahead, create the sight word and alphabet folder with all of my resources in them in Google so that week to week next year I can just grab what I need, create a scope for literacy based on that, hole punch binders for next year as in the curriculum. Sorry, my messy handwriting. Fine motor label for downstairs. I can do that easily. And print sight word books for primer books, which I can prep another day. I want to feel like I accomplished something. So I'm going to check a few things off the list that are easy to do. So I'm going to print that label for fine motor sensory to go downstairs. It's going to take 5 seconds, but that way I can cross something off the list because it feels good to cross things off lists. I'm going to, what do I have time for? I've got 20 minutes. So let me check off this label. So satisfying to check something off the list. What can I do? Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. In my Google, I'm gonna quickly create a folder for next year for literacy. I've already started in my Drive. I already created a 2021-2022 school year folder. And again, I'm not trying to go through this, spend all of my time on stuff like this. I just need to do a little bit every day so I feel like I've accomplished something. So I can show you what I've got in a second. Let me just add this folder. Okay, I can't show you much, but this is my 21-22 folder. Sorry for the glare. I don't have much in here, but I have a morning meeting folder. Ooh, there we go. Morning meeting folder, a remote learning in case I have remote students, all of the scope and sequences for my whole year that I'm working on slowly. My sight words I just added, social skills, and overall unit like outlines. That's kind of like all I have so far. I just mostly have the folders. As I do stuff over the next month, I'm going to add them to the folders. Currently, for my morning meetings, I have the slides just kind of pre-made in there. We'll be using those every day. I have a folder for remote learning in case I still have remote students next year, although I don't know how likely that is. Sorry, my camera fell down. In my scope and sequence folder for next year, I already have my life skills mapped out because the OT and I already kind of made one for last year. I've been loosely going off of it, but we're going to keep a lot of things the same because I still need support in those skills, and also because a lot of kids were remote and the weird scheduling of things. So change that. My science scope and sequence and my social studies scope and sequence are also already done because, not because I'm cool at all, because we use the Autism Helper curriculum and it already comes with things involved. So since next year, I'm going to probably have first grade, second grade, third grade, and fourth grade. I took a look at the curriculum. It has like 3 or 4 levels. So I picked like the easiest level and then like the middle level, looked at those and kind of mapped out my science. Here, actually, I'll show it to you because I feel like that would help. Whole plan and outline for science for next year. So I'm kind of going off the idea that I'm going to have grade 2 and grade 4. Again, I looked at the units that were already given in the Autism Helper and kind of mapped out what would work best together. So unit 1 is going to be weather for level 1, which is the level 1 of the unit. And then the level 2 or 3 of the unit is states of matter. So these are the outline goals of what I want to work on. I haven't done the standards yet, and I haven't done the exact dates because I don't care as much about the dates because it might take us longer, but usually these will last a month. So I want to show you a few more things. My personal laptop is like losing its mind because it's on overdrive, so I apologize for the noise of it. But all of these things I just found for free, and I am trying to think of a way to incorporate them in my morning meetings for either this year or next year, or into my like literacy time or phonics time. And I think that having Google Slides would be the easiest for me because I'll be able to project, and then depending on, maybe a staff member will sit behind 2 students and then 2 students, and those students might be at the same level and they can do an activity based off of the slide for their particular level. So let me explain myself. These are the things that I found for free. The first one being these instant mingles from Tara West. She has like essentially each letter. I think that for this, some students are actually working on letters, but if I present this during our like literacy time, I can provide different activities. So either the student then will do an N thing, or some students who are working on words will then have N-related words, or they might have to brainstorm N-related words or something. So I can differentiate it, but this can be up on the screen, and then the kids can do their own activities based on the letter N. Going back to this is a freebie from Kim. I'm going to try to leave all these linked down below. This is like, you build it. So for some of us, we'll be able to try this each day and just practice. I think I'll just be using these for the rest of the year, but I can honestly redo them again and again because we're going to still need to know this. This is from Tara West as well. It's free. I'll link this down below. This has so many. Look at this. 8, 16. That's, if I do each of these for 2 weeks, that's a whole year's worth of digital games. And I decided to map out my read alouds for next year overall, like the general themes. Really quick, before I even begin, here is my word study and vocabulary, mostly just letters and sight words. I mapped out what I want. Some students won't need this column, but they definitely all need this column. So I just kind of mapped out a general idea of what I want through the end of the year. I actually used my school's, or like the kindergarten version of what they do, and just kind of simplified it to help myself. And then I got to the whole group reading. So I'm flipping back around to discuss a few things. My main goals for when I do read alouds is that the book highlights different characters. The book highlights all different types of lifestyles. There are no stereotypes in these books. And just overall that I can also teach a social theme or like a life skills theme within the book. Here it is. So for example, here's August. I'm taking 2 days per text and then our half day on Wednesday for the shorter texts. So for example, August, we're only here for like a week in August. So just understanding simple print concepts. These are the books that we're going to read. Oh, sorry, it's 2 weeks. Sorry, 2 weeks in August. Then we get into September. Here's just an example. The goal of September is that they can answer questions from the story. It's also a really cool month to just talk about different kinds of characters, different kinds of kids, stuff like that. Let me show you the next example is October. October is also Hispanic Heritage Month and kind of blends into like autumn and fall. So we're talking only about characters. So all these books hit on some cool different themes and then they talk about characters. All right, so I was sitting in this chair, hurt my back and my butt, so I moved to this chair while I was finishing up, and then I was using this chair when I was sitting here, but again, back pain. So I had to get a cube chair so that I could at least like spread out and like just, I don't know, try and like alleviate some tension. This has been really helpful. So my afternoon meetings went really great. It's basically the end of the day. I'm feeling pretty good overall. I drank my drink. I went to the bathroom. I lived my life, had a snack. But I'm definitely like tired of looking at a screen all day because I feel like that's all I've been doing or just creating that stuff. So I'm going to finish this and then kind of tidy up the room before I leave. So really quick before everything starts, I do kind of follow a meeting agenda just so that I can have all of my information as I go. I use this so that as we talk, especially on Zoom, I know exactly what I'm going to talk about. This is the Massachusetts agenda, so I know it will change depending on the state. But if you have an agenda, I would go for it, or some kind of checklist so that you stay on track. That is a huge key. Oh, last thing is I'm almost done with all of our binders. So all I'm going to do is 3 hole punch, put them into the actual binders, and then maybe me or Austin will add the Velcro tomorrow. And then they'll be all set. Hello everyone, it's Thursday after school. Before school, I kind of was rushing, got here early, but I was just trying to like get things done. When I show you the stuff that we did today, it'll kind of make more sense. I was trying to like scramble and make things work. But overall today was actually really good. I feel like the past couple weeks have been pretty low maintenance, and I'm kind of grateful for that because things are changing in the next couple weeks, and then I know it'll be, I know it'll just be like a lot more
like moving parts. So I'm just kind of enjoying the time that I have now. But yeah, the good news for this week is that I finally scheduled my second dose of the vaccine. I received the first dose March 1st, and so I was due for my second dose, but everything was booked here in Massachusetts. The rollout has been really horrible, but I finally booked my second dose, which is exciting. It'll be next week on Monday. So I'm kind of trying to prepare ahead because I know that I'll probably be really sick on Monday or Tuesday. But I want to make sure that I have enough for other people to come and support my class if I have to be out. It doesn't happen very often that I'm out, but when it happens, I just want everyone to feel comfortable, confident, and that they have enough material. So I'm trying to get ahead. But right now I have one meeting in about like 15 minutes. And then I really want to work for another like 30 minutes just on a few other things. I got pretty far in my work binders. I'm hoping to finish those today, but those are kind of at the bottom of the list. Actually, let me get my list and then I think this will make more sense. Oh, I'm also wearing a really cool shirt today that my school gave all of us. Representation Matters. I just think it looks really cool. So I'm back. Here's the list. Hopefully you can see. I wrote it just on an index card. I need to update IEP paperwork. So I've had a couple IEPs and they look really good in the system, but we keep a separate system where we kind of keep all those documents. I need to work on my progress reports really badly. So I'm probably going to set myself a 30-minute timer and try and crank through as many of those as I can. I have all my data already set, like I was showing you for our parent-teacher conferences yesterday. So I just kind of have to pull all that data up, quickly write my progress reports. It won't take me very long. I need to print next week's work, copy next week's work, and then finish those morning work binders if I have time. But those are kind of at the bottom of the list. And if I don't get to them today, then I'll just finish them tomorrow before I leave for the weekend. So let me jump into my IEP paperwork and I'll check back with you in a few minutes. We're back. Sorry, I just need some water. I didn't bring you over there because I didn't want to like risk showing any personal information for kids. I just didn't want to like risk it. All right, we finished. So that was good. I can check that off the list. Ooh, there's a pen right behind you. Hold on. All right, so I kind of want to print my work for next week just so that I have it all printed at the printer. Yeah, I'm going to print it and then we'll get going. While all of that is printing at the printer, I just printed easily 100 pages worth of stuff. I want to show you what we did today. So in the first grade, they are reading Chrysanthemum, which is like a super simple book, but it is kind of long and kind of like wordy. I didn't have the book here. It's probably downstairs in my other room, but like I didn't want to go get it. So I just printed off a PDF version that I found online and we read it together. Then during snack, I played the read aloud version on YouTube so that they could hear it a second time. I've talked about this website so many times, but the Rhode Island Sherlock Center, you can find adapted books. So we read the adapted version of Chrysanthemum in our small group. Let me just show you kind of what the pages look like. So it got like really simplified, like the text with symbols, so all of my students could access it. And then we did 3 different activities and they were all kind of leveled. I came up with them on the spot. I thought I was being observed today. Realized this morning in my Google Calendar that they were coming in to like check in on how we're doing. Then they never came in. So it's fine, but we'll see. So we did a beginning, middle, and end, which this is from Maylene. I printed it and like was getting it ready, and then I saw it said Mrs. Calls Campers, and I was like, oh my gosh, so cute, my friend. So we all kind of did that. That went really well. This is the stuff. I found this. Make sure I block the name. I found this. You kind of go through the story elements. Then I quickly printed off images to kind of represent that. So the character, who's it about? It's about the mouse, about Chrysanthemum. Where is the setting? It's at school and at home. What's the problem? her name, and then what's the solution? The music teacher helps her feel confident. We talked through everything, and that was really awesome. And then for one of my students, they're, again, doing the grade level curriculum. So the questions that the teachers would have asked, like in their lesson plan, these are some of the questions they would have asked. I had that student, I printed off the questions like this, bigger, and then they used like primary lines writing paper, and then they responded by actually writing out their sentences so that they could keep up with what their peers are doing. Then we did our next decodable book, Dan, My Dad, talked about the vocab, talked about the sentence. Here, let me show you. There's the sentence frame, so we used that. I also wrote out a really simple like schedule of like what we're doing, so that was super helpful. Then they did their independent literacy work, either file folders or like paper activities, again depending on their level. So they did all of their things, and then the last 10 minutes they had their iPad and they did a couple boom card decks or Google slide decks, and then they got like 5 minutes of free time on the iPad. And so that was really helpful because I gathered my data and we had a really great lesson all in the same block. So math today was a much more challenging. There were a lot more tricky concepts that I think are not yet sticking, and it caused a little bit of like drama for them and emotions and anger, tears, you know, the whole thing. But we're working with it and we are making progress. All right, here it is. There's the plans that we wrote, my 2 decodable books for one part of literacy. I have a feeling that I'm going to be out on Tuesday, so I printed this for free from the Sherlock Center and then found this also for free on TPT. We have a few like about insight words, the books that they're reading for that grade level in general ed, and then additional papers for writing. The focus, what is it? The focus for this student is word families and like rhyming, and this is the in word family, and then also the insight word just cuz. We're still working on a lot of additions, so I printed a lot of these to support us. Our writing for the week, y'all know the drill. Our opinion writing for the week, y'all know the drill. I made this last week, didn't get to use it all, so here we go. And then fish for next week's guided reading and comprehension. Hi everyone, it's Friday after school. I had no time before school to even show anything, but now that it's after school, I have a little bit of time. I'm probably going to be here for about 30 or 40 minutes. I'm going to wrap up this vlog, and then I'm actually going to start filming another video, which will come out next week, so subscribe and stay tuned. But there are a few things that I do need to do. I need to finish up making some things for next year. You know, my 15 minutes of work each day related to that. I need to send a couple IEP emails, you know, the typical paperwork stuff. I'm going to fill up our boxes for our work next week. I already made the copies yesterday, already have all my plans set. I just need to fill in the folders that say the week, the day, and the kids' names. All right, so I'm going to take a few minutes and I'm going to fill up my stuff. You all have seen this before. If you've not seen it, then I will link down below to some other vlogs or some other like planning videos that kind of explain my system more. I'm not going to go too much into that, but I'm going to fill these up and then move on to my next task. So here are all of the curriculum books. I just have to make 2 more. I just need to print them, but these are from the Autism Helper, and this is what we use for math, science, and social studies. These are all set for next year, and this has taken me maybe a week. I printed something one day, put them in the binders, and then today we hole punched them. It took us a couple minutes, so
I think that was a good use of our time. This is set up for next year, and we're ready to go. And if you saw my scope and sequence stuff the other day, I kind of used the same system. So I have my science already set and my social studies, so we're good. Sorry, a continuation from the other day. Here are our work binders. They're all finished. And so they have stuff for each kid. All the rest of them are finished. We're ready to go. I've decided that I want to also make these into calendar books. So I found, this is not very cute, but I always have extra, like, what are these called? Tabs or dividers. So I'm actually just going to put a simple divider, and then I'm going to put their calendar stuff on the first half, so that when we're ready to work, they grab their binder, they do the calendar stuff, they flip, and then they do their morning work. So yesterday when I was printing everything off, I did show you all some of the read aloud things I was doing. I often like to print PDF versions of books so that each of my students can have the book when we do the read aloud. I think it helps for some of my students with devices. If I can't print off a copy of the book, then I just give them some of the core vocabulary words that they can use for themselves or for their device or when they need to answer questions. I printed off the book Too Many Toys for next week, and I'll probably talk about it if I weekly vlog, although I don't know. Let me know if you want me to vlog next week. There's a lot of other stuff going on, so I might not get a chance to, but I printed this off from the Sherlock Center so that every kid gets a copy. I don't like binding things when it's simple like this because I'll have wasted so much binding and time. So I 3-hole punch it, and then I take these little fasteners, and then I just make a little book with it. So that's been really helpful for all the kids to be doing it together. I feel like that's what a general ed class would have, and there's a sense of camaraderie. The way I differentiate it is I kind of sit for a second and think about what are the skills that my students need. Some of them just need to recognize letters, and so I might make a simple worksheet even with a pen and a piece of paper of the letters that they're going to see, and then they have to trace those letters, and then they have to highlight the letters they find in the book. How simple is that? That costs no money. Or some kids are looking for sight words, or some are looking for digraphs, and so after we read it through, especially if I print it like this, then they can go back and highlight and find those things. Also, some kids are always working on character, who, what, when, all those kind of things, and you can always find those. And so that's really a main reason why I use the Sherlock Center so much, or why I just type in the book PDF and see what pops up and print off what I can find, because then my students are able to write on the books, highlight them, color them in, and it makes it a little bit more interactive. Really quickly, I want to show you some of the plans I have for next week for the remote students. There are a lot of cool resources that I just found that I want to show you. So this is from Little Miss Kim. This goes with those addition pages that we had used before. So that's really awesome. Here, this was a really cool resource that I found. This is by Kinder's Hero. I kind of want to remake it for myself, a little bit more special ed specific, but basically you practice finding a character, and then there's tons of character practice and then setting practice. So for example, this student is about to be working on the letter C. Oops. So they will do those character things. They'll also do letter C practice, like I showed you earlier in the video. Song, they'll do that character thing. They're working on cat on a cot, which is what we did earlier. The vocab in the book. And then I found Itsy Bitsy Spider sing-along, and then questions with, this is a boom card deck. So, and then this is the April comprehension from Nicole from Adaptation Station, and then a song at the end. All right, so it's Friday. I did what I needed to do, and I kind of want to go home. I'm going to go home. I'm going to change my clothes, shower, and kind of relax for the rest of the evening. But I'm so glad that you all came along with me and you got to be here for the week. This has been so fun. And yeah, let me know in the comments if there are other things that you're curious about, or questions you have, or advice even that you have. I'm more than willing to hear all of that as well. But yeah, this has been really fun, and fun for me to process things out. It helps me teach a little bit better, and hopefully there were some resources here that inspired you or maybe gave you some ideas. But yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.